City Council working with its partners in the city region. In other words, there's an incredibly successful publicly owned asset, which is Manchester Airport. 16th busiest airport in the world, I believe. One of the most successful publicly owned enterprises. But I mean, while Manchester and its partners own the basic infrastructure, and it's interesting to note that when the airport was first being developed, there was a choice to be made between, shall we build better terminal facilities like they've got at Liverpool, or shall we just build a great big runway that will take the very biggest planes? And they decided that they would build the great big runway, and people had to check in tents for a while as a result. But that was the right choice, and there's an obvious parallel with the broadband market. So, and those are those three steps that I talked about in the history of the development of the Manchester digital sector. The early market awareness that starts creating demand for ISP services. The creation of hubs like Telecity, where the services can be hosted, and connecting those hubs in with the outside world. So, step one is the corridor, which has gone to tender. A preferred supplier has been named. That's Geo Networks. We'll be building a pilot fibre to the premise network in the corridor region, which is where the universities and some of the largest NHS institutions in Manchester are located. A small network, but one where a lot of these ideas about what the applications and services would be, but also the appropriate business models for operating this kind of network will be tested out. That's a map of the corridor area showing some of the priority zones. The corridor is a very good place actually to start off, because it has right in the middle of it IFL, IFL2 as it's usually known, and Telecity and other data centre operations where most of the internet peering activity, in fact all of the internet peering activity which takes place in Manchester takes place, and therefore internet transit costs are very low. So it's an excellent place to start building your experiments. But I mean, anybody who knows me in this room will know that one of the things I'd quite like to bang on about is the opportunity for using cooperative business models as a way of developing some of this. And if you go to the United States, you'll find a very interesting no-nonsense cooperative. Cooperatives, after all, now are part of Conservative Party policy, so I can stand here and say them without people assuming that that's associated with one political point of view or another, because that's exactly the way it is in the United States. The cooperative business model for the Mid-Atlantic Broadband Cooperative, which is a 400 gigabit backbone network co-owned by the ISPs and networks and hosting centres that use it. And that co-ownership allows for two things. One is it ensures competition in a way that a privately owned or monopoly owned network is never going to do. And it encourages a kind of innovation that otherwise you wouldn't have. And you know, there is a similar opportunity in Manchester because of the Metrolink lines, which are beginning to pull in a physical sense, some of the outlying parts of Greater Manchester, are also an opportunity to exploit ducting alongside those lines, and those are a very important part of the plans that Manchester is building. But also looking at the possibilities for co-ownership in a similar way, whereby the businesses that are going to be exploiting and taking part in this initiative share the responsibility for building it and running it. So, those are the answers, two answers to the question. First of all, we need the right technology. We need 100% fibre all the way to the premises, and that's what the ambition of the Manchester partners is, and we need to build it ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. good. If there are any questions of facts rather than detailed discussion, I see